The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon, tossed upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor. And the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. He'd a French cocked hat on his forehead, a bunch of lace at his chin, a coat of claret velvet, and breeches of brown doeskin. They fitted with never a wrinkle, his boots were up to the thigh, and he rode with a jewelled twinkle, his pistol butt to twinkle, his rapier hilt to twinkle, under the jewelled sky. Over the cobbles he clattered and clashed in the dark inn yard, tapped with his whip at the shutters. All was locked and barred. So he whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but Bess, the landlord's daughter, the landlord's black-eyed daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. But dark in the old inn-yard a stable wicket creaked, where Tim the ostler listened. His face was white and peaked, his eyes were hollows of madness, his hair like mouldy hay. For he loved the landlord's daughter, the landlord's red-lipped daughter. Dumb as a dog he listened, and he heard the robber say, "Go and kiss my bonny sweetheart, I'm after a prize tonight, but I'll be back with the yellow girl before the morning light, and if they press me sharply and harry me through the day, then look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way." He stood upright in the stirrups, he scarce could reach her hand, so she loosed her hair i' the casement, and his face burned like a brand as that black cascade of perfume came tumbling over his breast, and he kissed its waves in the moonlight. Oh, sweet black waves in the moonlight. Then he tugged at his rein in the moonlight and galloped away to the west. But he did not come in the dawning. He did not come at noon. And out of the tawny sunset, before the rise of the moon, when the road is a gypsy's ribbon looping the purple moor, a redcoat troop came, marching, marching, marching. King George's men came marching up to that old inn door. They said no word to the landlord, they drank his ale instead, but they gagged his daughter and bound her at the foot of her narrow bed. Two of them knelt at her casement, with muskets at their side. So there was death at every window, and hell at one dark window, for Bess could see through her casement the road that he would ride. They tied her up to attention with many a sniggering jest, and they bound a musket beside her with the barrel beneath her breast. "Now keep good watch," and they kissed her. She heard the dead man say, "Look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight, I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way." She twisted her hands behind her, but all the knots held good. She writhed her hands till her fingers were wet with sweat or blood. She stretched and strained in the darkness, and the hours crawled by like years. Till now on the stroke of midnight, cold on the stroke of midnight, the tip of one finger touched it. The trigger, at least, was hers. The tip of one finger touched it. She said no more for the rest. Up she stood to attention with that barrel beneath her breast. She would not risk their hearing. She would not strive again, for the road lay bare in the moonlight, blank and bare in the moonlight, and her blood in her veins in the moonlight throbbed to her love's refrain. Clip-clop, clip-clop. Had they heard it? The horse hoofs ringing clear? Clip-clop, clip-clop, in the distance. Were they deaf that they didn't hear? Down that ribbon of moonlight, over the brow of that hill, the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The redcoats looked to their priming. She stood up, straight and still. Clip-clop, in the frosty silence. Clip-clop, in the echoing night. Nearer he came, and nearer. Her face was like a light. Her eyes grew wide for a moment, and then she took one last deep breath, and her finger moved in the moonlight. Her musket shattered the moonlight, shattered her breast in the moonlight, and warned him of her death. He turned, he spurred to the westward, but he did not know who stood, bowed with her head on the musket, drenched in her own red blood, and not till the dawn he heard it, and then slowly blanched to hear how Bess, the landlord's daughter, the landlord's black-eyed daughter, had watched for her love in the moonlight, and died in the darkness there. Back, back he spurred like a madman, shrieking a curse to the sky, white road smoking behind him, rapier brandished high. Blood red were his spurs i' the golden noon, and wine red was his velvet coat, and they shot him down on the highway. Down like a dog on the highway, and he lay in his blood on the highway, with that bunch of lace at his throat. Yet still of a winter's eve, they say, when the wind is in the trees, the moon that ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas, the road a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor. A highwayman comes riding, riding, riding. A highwayman comes riding up to that old inn door. Over the cobbles he clatters, and clangs in the darkened yard, taps with his whip at the shutters, all is locked and barred, and so he whistles a tune to the window. And who should be waiting there but Bess, the landlord's daughter, the landlord's beautiful daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black